This is our last geometry topic, everyone, and it's called Pythagorean Theorem. It's named after someone, his name was Pythagoras, going back to the days of ancient Greece, really. And what it is, it's a method of finding a missing side in a right triangle. In any right triangle, this relationship is always true right here. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, b, and c are the sides of the triangle. A and B are called the legs. Together they form the right angle. The side C is called the hypotenuse. It is always the longest side. And in fact, that little box always points right to it. Okay, so in order to find the hypotenuse, that's what we practice today. In the next lesson, we'll practice finding a missing leg. It's slightly different. So for now, you'll square and add A and B. I'll show you what that means. We do an example. Then you'll just take the square root of that. Okay, so here we go. Looking at the first example, the setup is 8 squared plus 15 squared equals c squared. Now I could have the 15 squared here and the 8 squared there. It won't matter. I'm going to square those numbers and add them. Now you can use a calculator. 8 squared is 64. 15 squared is 225. When you add them, you get 289 equals c squared. Now I'm not done. I'm looking for c, not c squared. Doesn't that number look too big to be that side? Look at these numbers, 15 and 8. So it really can't be that. So to get rid of the power of 2, I do the opposite, which is I take the square root on both sides. So c squared becomes c, and the square root of 289 is 17. That number makes a lot more sense. So I have my setup, I squared them and added them, I took the square root. And remember, the hypotenuse is always the biggest side, and that makes sense. So these are all going to be very similar. I'll go back to my blue pen here. 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Again, this won't always be the setup. It will on this assignment. 9 squared plus 12 squared is 225, and I had that already worked out. I'm not doing that mental math. Take the square root of both sides, and 15 equals c, the biggest side, and 15 fits with those numbers. Okay, you can pause the video and try these two, but I still have to show you a question at the bottom. That's a different type of question. It'll be on the assignment, so don't check out of the video yet. Okay, well, maybe you try these two. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. That's 169 equals c squared. And when you take the square root of both sides, you can write the c first, the 13 second, or you could write 13 equals c. It's all the same. And if you have this one done, it should look like this. 25 plus 25 is 50. Now, when you take the square root of 50, everyone, you're going to get an irrational number. It's going to fill the calculator. So I'm going to put it in just a handheld calculator and show you what it looks like, because we're going to have to round that off. Okay, so here it is. The square root of 50, you can see is 7 point, then you see 0, 7, 1, and so on. I'm just going to round it off here. So I look at the 0, the number after it's a 7, this will round up to 7.1. So these answers are often decimals, 1 decimal place. And finally, the only other question we have to see is you have to determine if these make up the sides of a right triangle. So just set it up. 16 squared plus 63 squared equals 65 squared. Well, right now that's a question. Now, is that true? So this is how you show the work. You do 16 squared plus 63 squared. You're going to get a big number, 4,225. You do 65 squared. And you look, you got the same number. That means the answer is actually yes. These numbers form the sides of a right triangle because a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So in the same way over here, again, right now it's a question. So So I'm not really, that's why I'm putting a question mark over the equal sign. You know, is this true? On the left, I get 1,450. On the right, I get 1,600. Well, they are not equal. The answer is no. They might be a different triangle, but they are not a right triangle. That's the question. Determine if each triangle is a right triangle. So let me show you the assignment. 1 through 4 is what I did at the bottom of the notes. Are these right triangles? Now, always put the bigger number last. So this one would be C, that one would be C, this one would be C. See how I put the 9 by itself over here? So I got you set up on this one. You just have to finish it. So this is yes or no. The bottom has 6 where you'll do what I did at the beginning of the note. So it's in reverse order. Okay, so show the work. Show the setup, then you square and add, then you get your answer. If you need help, let me know.